Hi, and welcome to the A Quilting Life podcast. I'm Sherri McConnell from A Quilting Life.
And I'm Chelsi from Chelsi Stratton Designs.
And we are here today with you on July 14th, 2025. We're actually taping this a couple weeks early. It is July, just before the holiday weekend. And we're so happy to be here with you today. You notice that we are once again in my sewing room. We did mention that we would be in a new place, but that will happen in August. Billy will probably mention that in a bit. I'm going to start out just mentioning our sponsor, Cozy Earth. We hope that you'll take advantage of their wonderful products, their sheets, their blankets, their towels, their loungewear. The list goes on and on. Everything from Cozy Earth is amazing. And especially this time of year, we actually did hit 114 yesterday here. And it felt awfully nice to just get into those cool sheets in the evening and just enjoy a good night's rest. So be sure to visit using the link in the description below where you can get 40% off. And you can use the link or you can use the code A Quilting Life. And if you get a post-purchase survey, please be sure to tell them that you found them from A Quilting Life podcast. And now I'm going to turn it over to Chelsi because she has the quilt on the table.
I need to make note of something. It was 114 degrees yesterday, but this is what's wild about living in Southern Nevada is it is 30 degrees cooler today.
Yes.
Within one day. It's 84 degrees when I was driving over here because it was raining this morning. But anyways, just that fun little fact. On the table, I love this quilt. It's called Morning Walk, and I actually designed it using our Seashore Drive fabrics. Love those fabrics so much. And this is actually Fat Eighth friendly, but you could use honey buns with this one as well. You would just need, a few honey buns, but love this one. Marion Bott did the fun quilting on this. I just love this collection. I miss it so much. Yeah. I love the purples and the grays and beginner friendly.
I love this quilting pattern.
I know. Isn't it cute? Yeah. It's really cute, like spirals and flowers.
Yeah, I wish I knew what it was called. I would have her do it on something.
I'll text Marion and see. But I love a good log cabin block. So this one is really fun. So if you are looking for this quilt pattern, it will be linked in the description of this video. And also what's funny is this is when we were still using the porcelain background. I just noticed that.
So it's a little bit creamier.
Yeah, that is so... Seashore Drive felt like so long ago. It's crazy, but it really wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Yeah. We had Balboa, then Seashore Drive, Laguna Sunrise. Crazy. Yeah. I love it.
Awesome. Oh, do you want to share your...
Yes, actually, so Fat Quarter Shop sent me these. Mom also has some.
Yes.
You shared it in your Patreon group. Is that right?
I shared it on the Brightly Sampler sew along video, and my scissors are already out of the box.
This was a really nice surprise because you know how much I love scissors. And the fact that they sent 3 different sizes, I'm going to use them all. I have scissors everywhere, and I am going through them like crazy. So this was really, really nice of Fat Quarter Shop. I'm excited about these and just excited to use them. So thank you, Fat Quarter Shop. That was so nice. Cute. Also this box.
Yeah.
I need to repurpose this box, use it for something very, very cute.
Well, and you can take out the insert and just use it for whatever you want. So we will have that linked in the description below.
I'm going to pretend.
Isn't it the Sweet Snips?
It's a book in my bookshelf.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cute, actually. Yeah.
Well, it's like, you see in the movies, there's a book that's actually a box that has something in it. Yeah, that could be your secret book that you open up and there's actually like
candy,
a key to something. I don't know.
Billy, that's like everything I'm about is... Yeah.
I love
the
it.
hidden book. And in 30 years, one of my great-grandchildren will find it and find the stuff inside of it. Sorry, I'm feeling silly today.
Petrified candy.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for everything that's new right now this time? Sort of getting into the middle of the summer and everything, not a ton going on. But I will jump into our listener quilt section now. And the first one here is a quilter's cottage. It's a little different. It's not just like the one that you made, right, Mom?
Yeah, well, because the fabric for my pattern isn't actually available yet, so she used fabrics that are available.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So she said, this is from Diana. She said, "Hi, I just thought I would share with you my version of Sherri's Quilter Cottage quilt. As soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to make it, but I wanted to make it mine, so I made a few adjustments, merging the outer borders into one and adding some hexie flowers. Being in the UK means I have difficulty getting as much of your fabrics as I would like, but I managed to get a raspberry summer fat quarter bundle and backed it with the grandmother's garden cheater fabric. You can probably tell that I love the hexie flowers," she said. She said, "I love your podcast and your patterns. I think my next project might just have to be Miss Magnolia. It's so pretty. Regards from Diana." So
thank you. It is beautiful and stunning. I love it in the bright fabrics too. I love the soft, how delightfully yours is a little bit softer, but then I always love seeing things in our bright collections too.
And so nice of you to say you want to make Miss Magnolia.
Yeah.
I just love the Magnolia patterns.
that's next on our queue. Yes. Okay, the next one is sort of neat. It's a group of women that were doing your block of the month quilt, Mama. It says, "Hi, Sherri, Chelsi, and Billy. We are a group of friends who get together once a month to show each other the quilting projects we are working on. In 2024, we made Sherri's 2023 block of the month quilt using fabrics of each person's choice. Every month we showed our blocks for that month, and then at the beginning of 2025, we all brought our finished quilt to show. Here's a picture of us with our quilts. Thanks for such a fun pattern and for a great podcast." And Carol sent that in, but it looks like the picture, it said Cedar Hills Stitchers might be the name of their group.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's Cedar Hills just a few hours north of us.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe.
I wonder.
I love seeing the group pictures. That to me is really, really cool because I talk about that a little bit. Sometimes with a row quilt I have, in block of the months are great, but just doing it with a group of friends is really awesome.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. And that was fun to see that. Like you said, seeing the whole group of women, that was really fun.
One more here. "Greetings, Sherri, Chelsi, and Billy. I made this Shine remix for the twin beds in our guest room. I'm in the process of making the second one. It is a hand-pieced and hand-quilted, in parentheses, just because I love doing handwork."
Wow.
So I'll ask you after I read the rest of this. "Since we live at the beach," I was going to look this up before I read it. "Chincoteague Island, Virginia."
Oh, okay.
Is that, I hope I pronounced that right.
You got it pretty close.
Okay. I quilted it with a cresting waves pattern, and I am naming the quilt Ocean Breeze. So it's your Shine remix pattern, but she did her own quilting on it. She lives at the beach. She's naming it Ocean Breeze.
Yeah, it is stunning. And but when you showed me the picture, I didn't realize she had done it by hand.
Yeah, I was going to
I didn't
mention
know that either. That's crazy.
She said, "I used fabrics from Seashore Drive, Emma, Bountiful Blooms, Strawberry Lemonade, and Laguna Sunrise.
Oh my gosh.
The backing is the large print with white background from Strawberry Lemonade. I grabbed a whole bolt of it when the second printing came out. I have included a picture in front of the Assateague channel," I believe I'll pronounce that one right too, "looking out to where the annual pony swim takes place. It's not very clear, so I included another one from my backyard as well, and a close-up of the cresting waves quilting. Thanks so much for all three of you for what you do. I look forward to listening to the podcast every other Monday and have loved all your fabric collections. Best regards from Megan." So
I love that. And also my mom used to give me these books when I was little to read about horses, and there was one about the horses on that island.
Oh, really?
Wait a minute.
Yes.
What was it called? Because I think Grandma sent me that book also.
I think so, yes.
What?
Yeah.
Like winter pony and summer pony.
Yes.
Was there something to do with pony swims?
Well, I need to know about the annual
there's a whole
pony
story
swim.
about maybe a listener will comment and
Well, I'm sure she will.
kind of, because it's been so long since
I'm
I've
Googling it
read
right
those
now.
books. But yeah, there's ponies on that. There's horses on that island off of Virginia.
Okay.
And there's a whole story, a history of it. And
Oh, wow.
I better not say more because I might get it wrong.
Yeah, you
but
don't want to say something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Butcher it.
Yes.
But so, okay, we'll look into it more.
Whoa.
Okay.
So they do the pony swim, also known as pony penning. It's an annual event held This summer, 2025, marks the 100th annual event of the Pony Swim.
Wow.
Which includes a pony swim and auction, rounding up the ponies and herding them across the channel to the island. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
that is crazy.
I did read a book about it when I was
July
little.
30th and 31st is the 100th annual.
Wow.
Well, it's funny because, we have so many listener quilts emails, so I hope people don't think, oh, he never got it or he forgot about it. I mean, this was sent to me in April. So it's sort of worked out good because now this podcast is coming right before that.
Right before the anniversary. But I'm glad you looked that up.
Sort of worked out.
Me too.
So one question though about the hand quilting, that's why I was interested. Does that mean she did not use a machine?
For anything.
She did everything by hand, every little stitch into that quilt.
She cut everything and she just did
everything.
A simple running stitch.
Wow.
For everything. Yeah.
I mean, so that would take a very long time, right?
Some people are pretty quick at it though. Yeah. And I'm thinking of Jen Kingwell. Amazing. Almost everything she does is by hand
quilted.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible work. Like, I just don't have the patience. I'm so in awe of, I mean, whatever method is wonderful. It's, we're all makers and creators, but sometimes I just sit there and I think, I don't know if I would have the patience for that. That's maybe someday, someday, maybe not.
Well, really great batch of quilts there today. Thank you, everyone. And also, like I mentioned, like that last one I shared was sent in end of April.
Right.
It's July. So if you're wondering like, hey, sent something a month and a half ago, like it's probably there. It's just, I just go in order but we do appreciate them. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about what's going on around here right now. Like my mom mentioned, we are back here. There's no camera on me again. It just doesn't, like I said last time, it just doesn't set up very well here. But in August, we will be it will have a new look. We'll just say that. We'll have a new look for the podcast. I think everyone's going to like it. I'm looking forward to it, excited for it. Also, our next episode is actually an interview with someone, and initially we thought it was going to come out today on the 14th. However, it worked out better for it to come out the next one, and you'll find out why in 2 weeks when that comes out, because there was something that it would be better to wait so that she could talk about something that was coming up. So because of that, we're back here for one more episode in July. We have our listener or our interview next one, and then in August everything should be good to go. I'll be back with the camera on me in some way or form, and my mom and sister will, like I said, it'll be a new look, and we're looking forward to it.
Table.
Yes. Yeah.
Back at the OG table.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's sort of what's going on around here, and yeah, so just one more episode in here. But okay, so with that, we can jump into today's topics. And it's interesting. My mom sent me a list of some ideas from someone's blog. I guess she has a podcast, but she also helps other people start podcasts, right for their businesses and stuff. So I was just looking at some of the ideas that she was posting for people to start. And there was one that I thought would be actually really good for you guys to talk about. And it's basically talking about your biggest struggle that you have faced. And I was thinking you could talk maybe about both, or whichever one that suits you better, both as a quilter and or as a fabric designer. And I was just thinking, like, obviously it's a journey, it's a quilting life podcast. It's where you started, where you're at, where you're going type thing. And so obviously along the way, there's going to be struggles. So I thought maybe as you progressed, maybe you could talk about something or some things that you had to overcome or struggled with early or recently or whenever.
Yeah, I thought this was a great question. I remember early on, I really struggled with confidence in putting colors and fabrics together. We actually made a family quilt for my great aunt and uncle on their 50th wedding anniversary. And I volunteered to make the quilt, but I was so unsure about picking out the fabrics that I asked my Aunt Carol to go with me to the fabric store to help me put the colors together. And she did a lot of cross stitch and needlepoint. She didn't really quilt a lot, but I figured she would have a better eye for color because of all of her work with thread.
Yeah.
And took her with me. But after that, I just feel like, and I really do feel like reading quilting blogs on the internet back then in the early days was super helpful because I could see how other people were putting things together and what color combinations they were using. So after practice, I feel like that's something I feel pretty confident in now. I still occasionally put things together that I'm like, oh no, that's not going to work. In fact, yesterday I was sewing some blockheads blocks and I actually threw one in the trash because I hated it when it got done. The fabrics looked really good laying out on my table, but one of them was directional and there was just no way to make it work in the block and it ruined the whole block. So yeah, there's still going to be trial and error, but I feel like you can grow by practicing different things. I don't know. I could probably give you a list of 5, but maybe we can alternate.
Yeah. I do. This topic made me emotional. That's very rare. When Billy said the outline, I was thinking, oh man, like what do we got today? And this one was really, really great. I feel like I obviously have faced challenges and struggles for both of these topics. I will just focus on the quilter one first. Is that good? And we'll move into fabric design. I did not want to quilt. And this is like a real thing. Going back to when I was 11 and I made a baby quilt for my aunt and I did not like it. I was not having fun. And my mom mom was really great because she wasn't like forcing. She just said, try this. And I just told her, and she didn't push me after that. But I knew her love for quilting and I was okay with not quilting. And just like she said, really, and mom posted about her blog, what is it, 17 years?
17 years.
It's really crazy. And I laughed on one of her stories. I was laughing because she said, even if my kids thought I was like crazy. and I did. I thought, what is going on? And she would come into my room and be like, look at this new bag I made. And it'd be like, great, But it wasn't until, Quilt Market and I saw the inspiration behind everything that I kind of had a desire to. And I really struggled, but I had kind of like a secret weapon, which was mom. I could call her all the time. And she and Billy filmed a binding tutorial years before even our podcast was like a big thing.
Yeah, it was over 10 years ago now.
Yes, over 10 years ago. And I have watched that binding video so many times and until I knew just how to do it. And I thought, I'm so grateful I have this, but I struggled. And there are moments where I think, wow, this didn't turn out as well as I thought, but that was a struggle for me to learn something new and kind of like my ego kind of took a hit on not being really great at something, but quilting is meant to be you're learning something all the time. So it was a struggle and I didn't know if I would enjoy being a quilter, but I just kept quilting because I felt like it got me through raising my kids. That was like, raising 3 babies is like, everyone who has raised children or nieces or nephews, it just really got me through that time. And so it's like an emotional thing for me. So I'm very grateful for it.
One follow-up question for both of you then. So just through practice, it sounds like actually, like both with you, Mom, with color coordination, Chelsi with just different skills, you just stuck with it and more practice until the confidence increased, essentially.
Yeah.
Is that
definitely
like how you overcame those struggles initially?
Yeah. And I feel like I was a pretty accomplished sewer when I started quilting. I took a sewing class when I was 10 and my mom helped guide me with sewing, but and
you sewed a lot of clothes,
wedding dresses and prom dresses, and I got pretty good at sewing without having any professional experience in that, I guess, either. But when I started quilting, I was pretty much self-taught. My grandmother helped me with my first quilt, but after that, I kind of just was really self-taught. I didn't actually take a quilting class until, I don't know, I think you were in high school, Billy, and I went and I took that class with Kathy Wheeler and Debbie Totten invited me to go take a class with them in St. George. And so that was the first time I took a formal quilting class. And in that class, I learned about my 1/4-inch seam. That teacher, she was awesome. She was like, your 1/4-inch seam is off. But I thought of something the other day. I was actually hanging a quilt on the wall, and it was an early quilt. And I noticed all the mistakes and all the cutoff points and all the issues. But that was part of my journey. That was part of learning to quilt. Just keep going. And now I would probably never cut off those points unless it was inadvertent, just going too fast. But yeah, just keep practicing.
Well, and one thing I put on there, and maybe this wasn't a struggle for you, Mom, but maybe it was for you, Chelsi. Basically, I said, being overcritical of your work. Were you hypercritical of your mistakes when you'd see a Mom, or were you like, I'll do better next time? Or because like you saying, you see an old one, you see a lot of mistakes, but you obviously finished it. Go ahead. Yeah,
no, that's a good follow-up question, because I think I know people that won't quilt because they are so hypercritical. Mm-hmm. I feel blessed that I don't have to have things perfect. I can get by with a little bit of imperfection, and it doesn't drive me nuts. I think like,
yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Just like with clutter, like I can let clutter build. Oh. And then when it gets to a certain point, I have to stop and clear it. But that's the same thing with my quilts. There can be a few mistakes and it doesn't bother me. So
clutter is different for me. She knows this though.
Yeah.
It really bothers me. My poor husband. He's like, I just set this one thing on the piano. And I said, well, it's gone now. For example, we just went to this amazing retreat. I know we keep talking about this, but I almost have a sense of imposter syndrome sometimes because I am meeting these amazing women and quilters who have quilted much longer than me, the kindest, most amazing people I know. And I just think, I'm not even, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not even at your level. Like so I think I also struggle mentally with those types of things. We have the best supporters and the kindest. Like I even got a few emails this morning that just made me smile. And I thought, people are so kind, but I think I do have that sometimes too. Is like, I don't worry about getting if my points are sometimes, like if there's a tiny point cut off, I'm not worried about that. I think I'm more worried. I sometimes think, I don't know.
I think I'm glad. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up imposter syndrome, because that really kind of does lead into, as a fabric designer, I remember, and I don't even know if you remember this conversation, but there was a little bit of that. I feel like there was a little bit of pushback from some people like, well, you're just a blogger. How are you?
There was, sadly there were some comments.
Some comments that were hurtful, but we were eating dinner one night, and this was a shop owner that actually said this to me. We were explaining how we work together, and we were explaining about Chelsi's artwork and her drawing, and how, just how we start, and how it all starts with Chelsi doing sketches and everything. And this woman just looked at me and she says, then what makes you part of the design team? I mean, like, I was just like floored. Remember? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember.
Was this a while ago?
This was our very
first quilt market.
As designers.
It was a while ago.
Because Moda used to have the dinner with hundreds of shop owners.
Yeah.
Okay.
And looking back, I don't think she was like, I think it just came out really, really blunt. Like, not the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nicer ways to ask questions. Sometimes.
Yes. But I remember,
and that's how we answered it. We talked about how we both talk about colors and scale, and how we work together to pick the strike offs, and so I feel like we answered her really well.
Yeah. I felt very defensive just because my mom is going to deny this because she's so nice, but like, I would not be here at all if it weren't for my mom. And so like, it really was, I knew nothing about, I may have known color. I always have felt really good about color, but I didn't know quilting and putting colors, and it really is different, like scale of fabrics and all these things, because I hadn't been quilting or sewing anything. And so now when I design, I do all these things my mom has taught me over the years, has helped me. And truly, when we first started designing fabrics, yeah, I may draw everything and all that, but mom would every time be like, hey, we really do need one more floral, a medium floral. And I'd be like, what is that woman talking about? Like, and she'd be like, well, maybe. And now there's very limited of that because,
because
because I have learned so much from her over the years. And we truly say this all the time at market. We'll be like, I don't know how. I look at Vanessa of Lella Boutique, or, Camille Ross Kelly now doesn't have her mom with her. Then I think, how do you guys do it alone? Like, but we do have a good friend support. We're all very supportive of each other. But yeah, first, it was really hard for me to hear someone say like, well, what makes you feel? And we really are a team, and it doesn't work without a team. And this is also something to be said. That's why it works too, because if one person in the group felt like, you're not really contributing, like it would never work, right? There has to be this really like mutual respect on it. And yeah, do we sometimes be like, I really wish Billy was there when we picked the last group that's coming out.
We've got to do that next time.
We have to do it.
I missed it. Huh?
When we pick up the strikeouts, you've got to film it next time.
Just let me know.
This was so for us. It felt so incredible that it was really difficult to narrow it down because everything looked good. Like, I'm not kidding you. And mom and I were secretly switching things out, and then we were running to my dad and both holding up a separate SKU and being like, Bill,
which one?
Which SKU, father? And he was like, I can't take the pressure. And so it takes both of us because it really does. So I am so appreciative of that. The design process does not, for us, it does not work without each other. So, and now I tell people this all the time. I told people, not to toot Billy's horn or anything, but the podcast would have never happened without Billy. And I just could never have imagined this becoming what it was. And I hope we continue this and just keep going forward. But it has been an incredible journey, and I'm so grateful for it. Every little thing I look back and think I never would have imagined this at all. Even my husband and I were just talking. We just feel so grateful is what we feel. So,
yeah. And I feel like in Dallas, I was constantly telling women how you come up with the outlines.
Yeah.
And how it really takes a burden off of us to have to do that all the time. And we're just so grateful that you do that. And
and all the editing, and I mean, I'm over here like, so, and Billy will be like, oh my gosh, Chelsi, stop.
Because I was sitting there in that panel and in some of my other meeting presentations there, and I was telling people, YouTube is an amazing way to grow your business. Get yourself a son who will do it all for you.
Well.
So...
Yeah, it does take some work. Yeah, but when I was a teacher, and I was starting already to work a little bit with you. And every middle schooler, if you ask them what they wanted to do, 7-8 years ago, well, I don't need to go to school. I'm just gonna start my YouTube channel on video games and make a lot of money.
It's
like that's a little more.
And you become a YouTuber.
Yeah, it's so funny. Just a little hint. Like, I'm having a new quilt hanger installed. In the podcast room, and the man who is doing that for me, he asked me, why do you want this quilt rack, electric quilt rack? And anyway, I explained to him about our business and what we were doing now, and he's like, you know what, 10 years ago my son, who's 23, told me he wanted to be a YouTuber, and I told him he was crazy and forget about it, go to college, and he's like, I should have let him be a YouTuber. So
you never know. It's just, you got to find something, the right thing at the right time.
It has to be the right thing.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to circle back a little bit here, back to fabric design, because I did have a couple more questions about that. Was there anything of that list that I sent that was specifically a struggle for you guys in the beginning? Was there any fear of failure early on, or was it a struggle to find like an identity as you guys, as your type of fabric line? Because I'm not saying everyone's looks alike, obviously they don't, but that I would imagine if I was making my own fabric, I'd really be conscious of like what makes mine stand out compared to like all the hundreds of others fabric lines.
Absolutely. Everything you just said, everything on this list was something I wanted to talk about. Who we are as designers. What does that look like? Will people be able to say, oh, I know this is Sherri and Chelsi fabric without even looking at the label? Those were all things that were concerns of mine and valid concerns. There are lots of fabric designers out there and lots of collections. And you don't want to, do a design that is so similar to someone. And that I think is what makes our design director so amazing is she really doesn't let that happen. And in the beginning, I really feel like we were trying to find who we were, the first group of collections. And some were just not really us looking back, and some were really on the right track of being us. That is what I'm so grateful for. That was a very scary thing, wondering if we were going to be able to find who we were. And I'm grateful that we did. And designing is my favorite part, because it does come very the drawing always came really naturally. That was never the problem. It was, what's our color palette? What's, what sets us apart? And you really can tell, and people will tell us, like, I knew that this was your fabric collection. And I do take a little pride in that, just because the designs are so important to me. And yeah, but it is a scary thing trying to find. That could be any career though, right? A singer, anyone. You don't want to be like the same as someone else, right? For sure. But failure was a huge one. Poor sales was a huge one. You don't want to have a fabric line that doesn't do well. And I trust what we do a lot. Right now, I trust what we do.
Yeah. And I feel like we are really blessed, because I really think it's easy, even if, your florals are just, there's just that touch of whimsy in them that I don't really see really anywhere else in that way. And so it doesn't surprise me anymore when customers tell me that I saw this on the rack and I knew it was yours right away, because I feel like it's a signature style that evolves slightly and moves and grows, but it's still there, and I love that. I do feel like the failure issue, that's something that is stressful. I'm glad. I think with the first collection, I was so excited that I didn't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering, okay, maybe that makes sense, but then also early on, because nothing's guaranteed, right? Now you've been doing it for a while, but you're more established. But I would imagine it was sort of stressful at the beginning, because it's like, if no one buys our fabric for this first few collections, there's no reason for them to keep us, right?
I think the excitement got me through the first one. Now the second one,
it wasn't us.
We were really blessed, because our second collection did not do as well as our first collection, and things might have not been so good for us, except for the fact that the sales period had already started with our third collection, and it did well enough. The third collection did good. Yeah. Well enough to make up for any disappointment we might have had about earlier collections.
That was
that was a real blessing.
It was actually, I'm just going to say this. I don't know. It was a blessing for sure.
What's the name of your second collection?
So Valley was the one that kind of...
There were things if I were to go back, there were things I would have changed for sure about Valley to make it so much better.
I think the scale.
Yes. It really was like, it could have been for like outdoor decor. It could have done really well with those types of things if we had marketed it that way. The scale was so large. Yeah. That's just not.
You know what we should do? Because we actually did an episode once on Bright Sun. If you remember, this was a while ago. We're probably maybe 100 episodes ago. I don't know. But I remember doing like, hey, let's go back and look at old fabric collections, because we obviously do episodes for the new ones. Yeah. So we did Bright Sun, but we never really did another one. Maybe that would be a good episode. You could open up a couple other of your maybe number 2 and 3 talk about them, talk about some of these things that you're saying, Chelsi, how you could have improved it now as a more experienced fabric designer compared to when you were just starting out.
Yeah.
That might be interesting.
And we did we knew that our third collection we actually had an email with, I will share this. We actually had an email with the design director at the time, and it was we got to get this one right, is what it was very much like. And there were elements of Valley that were in Desert Bloom, like specifically the large floral, but we did scale everything down. Everything was much smaller. Mom came out with it, because I wasn't designing quilt patterns at the time. Mom came out with excellent quilt patterns. Like she did baby quilt, she did all these things, and it was really, she did a row quilt. She did a lot of different things that really marketed it really well. And I was nervous. I thought, I don't know that we're going to continue designing fabric. And it sold really well. And so I just think that was a huge blessing. But it's scary. It's scary. I just am so grateful for our design director and assistants, because they really have molded and helped shape us into who we are today. And always giving great suggestions. And the sales reps when we were at market, they actually multiple came up to us and said, hey, this might be something I would do different. And someone could have taken that and said, wow, this was like, thanks, I didn't want to hear this, but they really were trying to help us. They were like, hey, this is something a shop owner said. And I'm grateful for it all, because we've been friends with a lot of these sales reps for years. They know they're on the road selling the fabric. And I'm just very grateful and feel very blessed that we are where we are, and we feel confident in our designs.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned the sales reps, because they used to, I feel like, frequently walk up to us our first several say our first half dozen markets, and just walk up and say, hey, this has been my experience selling this collection on the road. And have you ever thought about this? And here's something that shop owners say. And it was super helpful. Yeah, we appreciate that.
So appreciative of them. They've been in the business for a really, really long time. And I am so grateful for our company. I just am so grateful for Moda, and they're really great, and they want us to be successful. And so that is so helpful that they are a business too. They have to run a business. And so they run a successful business, but also very supportive. And so that has been helpful. But I can promise you, for years, I even was reorganizing my shelves, making room for a new collection. And oh my gosh, I have been trying to make room. Have you been making room?
That's what I've been doing.
I'm like, where am I going to put this?
Yes.
Where? But I really was looking at it and thought, oh man, like, I'm grateful for the journey is what I will say. I'm grateful for the journey. But I just love drawing. I'm grateful that I get to do what I love every day. And we have some really, really fun fabric collections, speaking of that, coming up. We actually know our whole 2026 now.
We're mapped out for 2026.
And only one collection. We already know what the color palette and everything isn't fully designed.
Right.
But guys, I'm so excited. I get so excited about it. So yeah.
Good deal. So to follow up with the struggles, I thought to finish up, we could talk about something that's important. It's important in everything, and I think it's sort of a popular topic nowadays too, but it's having a positive mindset while quilting. So you discussed some of your struggles a little bit, how you overcame them. But like you said, Mom, like obviously you said just the other day, so mistakes still happen. Yeah. Mistakes probably happen in both design, in quilting, and just everything. So how have you remained positive? How have you learned to overcome those? And real quick before you jump into that, I was telling my mom before we started recording, is for a lot of people, quilting is strictly just a hobby. It's something they do for fun, that they enjoy, that they use for gifts. And when we were filming the episode with Vanessa Christensen, and she had just mentioned that a retreat she was teaching at, that someone was really being negative towards themselves, like, I'm so stupid, how did I mess this up, And when she said that, I was like, wow, I can't believe, and she obviously went to her and told her no and everything, but I was thinking, wow, like, I can't believe someone would be that critical of themselves doing a hobby. And then it hit me, I'm like, how many times have you been, too mad for good reason out on the golf course? And what do I do that for? I do it as a fun hobby. And as I mentioned, I caddy as another part-time job. And I've seen people lose their minds, and throw very expensive golf clubs, and it's like, we're supposed to be out here having fun. You're paying money to come out here and play a nice golf course and have fun. And yet people still lose their minds. So I said, okay, maybe I can see now how people in any hobby can be critical of themselves and lose some of that confidence. So anyway, there's a lot of positive mindset stuff with golf. There's like sports psychologists that work with even casual golfers. They go and see that because they like it, but then they hate that they lose their temper and everything. So anyway, I just thought there's another golf analogy, but how have you guys used positive mindset to overcome some of those struggles?
Yeah, I thought this was another great question. And I told you too, before we started filming, I just met with my Patreon group the other day for our monthly meetup. And one of the women had sent in a question, just said, I just don't feel like sewing. I just don't feel like it. Does anybody have any suggestions? And it was awesome because a lot of the women in the group gave her some great ideas. Go to a quilt shop, watch YouTube videos, just
take a break,
clean up your space. There's so many different ideas. And I told her, hey, I have a couple blog posts that I've written on that, and I'll get the links for those. And when I went to look them up and post them later that night in the group, I realized I had written them both in the summer, those posts. And so I was wondering, do we feel this way more in the summer?
Yeah.
Or maybe just me because it's so hot here? Maybe I need a little creative reset in the summer and a positive mind boost. But yeah, I feel like you do have to, as it says in our outline here, you have to just let some mistakes go.
Yeah.
And just move on from it, even if it's in a quilt and even if you're not going to take it apart or fix it. Sometimes you fix it, sometimes you don't. And I always say that to people when I teach. Is it going to bother you? Because I, as the teacher, I'm not going to tell you to take it out and redo it. Is it going to bother you? And if they say, no, it's not going to bother me,
then keep it. Yeah.
Leave it there and make the next block better, so.
I really appreciate that comment from her though, because she's not alone. Many, even designers feel this way. I feel this way. I'm at a very unique time in my life where my kids are very, very involved, and I am enjoying my kids growing up. And I just know I will look back and regret missing the baseball game or whatever, or the basketball or whatever. And so I have kind of been a little bit more lenient on myself. And I have people sew for me now because I need to be with my kids. But I have, in the summer, I do feel that. Like right now, I just want to, oh my goodness. It's
vegetate on the couch.
Yes, vegetate on the couch. But I do know this happens every year. When my kids go back to school and quilt market is coming, I get really excited about like creating and doing things. And so I know that's going to happen. But yeah, never feel bad about, and I try to do this for myself, but don't ever like beat yourself up because you've maybe lost a little bit of your drive or whatever. But I have always felt incredibly grateful. Mom knows this. When I am feeling worried about something or stressed about something with the business or quilting or designing, I always call her. And like, we will be on the phone for a long time. And I'm just like, Mom, but I'm so nervous about this. Or, this email that I got, I don't know. And she is so great because she just like talks me off of that, stress mountain. And it's good to have support. So I love that your Patreon group has support. I feel like having a positive mindset is really, really important. Not everything's going to be perfect. Not every quilt is going to be perfect. Not every part of your journey is going to be perfect. But yeah, it's something we love, and we continue to do it because we love it, even if you need a break. Even, I'm going to bring up April Rosenthal. She posted this week and said she hasn't sewn anything in a year. And she's like, I'm trying to get back on here and post and feel creative, and she just hasn't. And she was really open and honest about that. And sometimes you just need a break, and you just move forward. And so
I'm going to have to go read that post.
you should go read it. April is...
she's well-spoken.
She's well-spoken, and she shares, all of her feelings. I think Amy Smart one time even shared something like that. We all go through that, but trying to stay positive is important. These topics were so good today. I could talk about this for 3 hours. Sorry, you picked 2 good ones.
Well, I know. And there's a million directions you can go. You can go very deep. I did just want to mention, so one thing like Chelsi said, so having a support system, someone you can, just getting a different perspective. You may see something and think this is the worst thing in the world. But if you just talk to someone else, they're a little more grounded because they're just looking at it from an outside perspective and like, hold on, I think you're overreacting here. And that can just sort of reset you. Yeah. And then also, I think a positive mindset trick for anything is that when mistakes are made, which they're always going to be made, instead of just dwelling on them, being negative about it, okay, maybe you fix it, maybe you don't, like my mom said. However, there's still a takeaway from it is that you can learn from it and analyze what did I do wrong and how can I not do it again for the future, and just turn it into a learning experience. And it might take more of your time. It might be a little frustrating, but if you turn every mistake you make into a learning experience and not just dwell on it negatively, but think, okay, I'm going to take something away from this still, that's a good mindset to have, because then it can always sort of, you won't be as negative and dwell on that as long as you need to.
Yeah, I love that.
Man, I wish you were in this film. That was great.
I know.
I should have had like a mirror, and then you guys could have seen that he was that was great. I wish we had your facial expressions during that pep talk.
Yeah. No, that was good. In fact, I talked about throwing away a quilt block. That video is actually going to air this Wednesday. And you're not going to see the one I threw away. You're going to see the good one.
Oh, yeah.
And she was comfortable with this decision, so it's okay.
I was comfortable with, and I love my second go at it, And maybe I shouldn't have thrown it away. Maybe I should have saved it and put on the back, but it really was kind of hideous. So it happens.
And I'll just share this perspective as well from filming with my mom, if it's okay, Mom. We filmed a lot of the block of the months and tutorial videos for bags and all these different things. And it doesn't happen very often, but I have, while we're filming, when my mom's doing especially the step-by-step things, there have been a few mistakes, and I can see my mom realize it. And even a couple times I thought something looked wrong,
Yay, Billy!
And is my mom happy about that? No, she's a little annoyed. I'm like, I can't believe this happened, or I need to unpick. How do you say unpick and go redo this. Even I'm pretty sure one block of the month you had pre-made it, and I looked and I'm like, wait, that's different than the small one or the pattern, and you had one of the things turned around
reversed,
right? And you're like, I have to redo this. The whole pattern's already done. So yes, my mom's not happy. But I would say, Mom, you do stay pretty positive overall, and you just sort of, okay, it is what it is. I need to fix this. This is what has to be, especially, giving a tutorial to other people.
Right.
There's really no other option. Yeah. And I think you just overall, you don't lose control over it or anything. And you just, okay, this is what I have to do. Move on. It's going to be better when it's all done and people are going to appreciate the finished project. So I think you do a pretty good job.
Oh, thank you.
Of doing that. So
thank you. Yeah, it's never fun when we're here to film and I just say, okay, sorry, Billy, you're going to have to go make a phone call while I resew this.
Yeah.
I mean, and it makes our day longer.
Go have some lunch, Billy.
Yeah.
But it happens, and you move forward.
I try.
Yep.
Well, I thought today was great. I loved both of those topics. Like I said, I really was actually emotional. I love the ones where I really have to dig a little bit deeper. I loved that.
Yeah.
Our next podcast episode, like we said, is coming out Monday, July 28th. And hint, hint, the guest is not from the United States.
Yeah, that's the hint.
Yes,
that's the hint, guys. Hint. So, put your comments below and we'll see who's right.
Yes. Okay, well, that's it for today. And we just appreciate you as always. Thanks so much for stopping by.